Now is Maria Popova, an Associate Professor of Political Science at McGill University and the Scientific Director of the Jean Monnet Centre in Montreal. Thank you very much indeed for your time. So lots of meetings today and lots of developments. Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky claiming both have made progress to bring an end to the war. What's your assessment after the day's developments in Davos?
I really doubt that significant progress has been made. Russia shows absolutely no readiness, inclination for any sort of compromise. So without a compromise coming from Russia, it's unlikely that any progress can be achieved between Zelensky and Trump, because it is Putin who is attacking Ukraine.
I mean, the trilateral meeting that's due to take place tomorrow in the United Arab Emirates, which is the first between these three countries to discuss the war, seems like it is significant, although we don't know exactly what will be discussed or indeed at what level.
I mean, hard to be very optimistic here, because there have been many rounds of meetings between Russian and Ukrainian officials, between Russian and U.S. officials, between U.S. and Ukrainian officials. We see no serious proposal on the table that is not something that amounts to asking Ukraine to surrender. And given the fact that Russia is not really capable of pushing forward militarily and is not achieving anything significant for now over a year, shows that they cannot compel this surrender that they're seeking. So I think the sides are really far apart, and I'm not very optimistic for the meetings achieving anything.
I mean, the US has proposed that the Donbass be turned into a demilitarized and free economic zone, which would in turn lead to security guarantees for Kyiv. Do you see that as a workable solution?
Not really. Russia has not actually agreed to that. Ukraine agreed to a ceasefire back in March, but Russia has not agreed to any single proposal. This does not depend really on Kyiv's agreement. It really depends on Russia showing any sign that it is willing to accept some sort of midway compromise solution. So I think until we see Russia actually suggesting a compromise of some sort, it's too early to be optimistic.
And earlier, Volodymyr Zelensky used his speech at Davos to take a broadside at European allies, criticising them for a lack of political will and saying they're just waiting for the US for leadership on Ukraine. Is he right?
I mean, he is in a tough position. He cannot come out and say right away and very directly that the U.S. has not really been helping, that the U.S. is in fact threatening Europe. The U.S. is trying to bully Ukraine for the past year into accepting Russian demands. But he is correct in pointing out that Europe needs to drop the wishful thinking that it can have the U.S. leading constructively. It needs to join Ukraine in preparing to actually defend itself from Russia without the U.S.'s help. Because so far in the past year, we're not seeing help from the U.S. We're seeing only pressure from the U.S. to concede to Russian demands.
OK, Maria, we do thank you very much indeed for your analysis. Appreciate you joining us. Maria Popova there, Associate Professor of Political Science at McGill University.
Thank you.